It's the first racetrack Mr. Walker, Sam Walker had, and he headed up where they live now. I was never in the racetrack, but that was the first one he built.
Was that horse racing?
Yes, horse racing, yes. They had horses. And then they started, I think, Crookshanks. No, it was a great thing, you know. And, of course, it wasn't just like it was when it was done away with. It was, you know, just very, not very modern, eh?
Yeah.
And then they kept building on it, and a lot of people, I mean, and they had crowds and crowds with the horse races. You know. Oh, yes,
Sackville.
And a lot of people made their living by that and everything, you know. A lot of people moved here, and I don't know about, and it had a lot of employment. It employed a lot. They made the barns and, you know, their horses, and people had their horses there. They had mills here then. They used to run Mr. Heffler had a mill, a lumber mill, yes, and there wasn't any industries here then except garages and no restaurant. And then Phil over here, Craig, built the first restaurant that was here in Sackville. And then Dave Langell up here at the corner, he used to run a little store, but not very much, you know. Get a hot dog or something.
So where did you have to go to buy groceries?
Well, we went to Blackburn's at the corner, and Archie Fader had a little store up there at Sackville Cross. And it was his father ran that.
But if you were to buy clothes, it would be a Blackburn.
Well, Blackburn's, he did have a few, but that was afterwards. There was no place to buy a dress. You couldn't buy a dress in Sackville. And then you had to go in town, yes. Yeah. And then at one time, Tom's sister, they opened a place, and she and Miss Murphy opened a place in Bedford, and they sold clothing there. Now, that was about the first one in Bedford. And then, after that, then Ted, well, you couldn't really buy a dress. And groceries, and that was all. And then what was it they opened up? Then Mr. Archie Fader's, they built a new store up on the main road. That's where the Chinese restaurant is, or where that other grocery store is up the corner.
Well, where was
Yeah, that little where the bottle exchange. And then after he was finished, then we had no Catholic church up here in Sackville. The Anglican and the United were the only two. Oh, the Baptists too. They had one up on the old Sackville Road here. And then, so they started a parish here in Sackville, and they opened up an Archie Fader's bottle exchange. It's very small, but they fixed it all up, and they were there for a couple of years before they built their new church, St. John Vianney. Then they had a garage. Schultz and Hanky had built the garage after we were here, down at the corner where Ted built his new building. And then George Shepard, I think, had a little car store. Not sure about that, though.